This just in. Vince McMahon is extremely rich. Rhea Ripley has vacated the title. And, wouldn't you know it, AEW Dynasty is this weekend, this time on Wrestling with the Business.
Here we go. Wrestling with the Business podcast, episode 53. Jeremy, Matt, and Dan. Before we get started, make sure you check out our new YouTube page, Wrestling with the Business, where you can catch all of our full episodes dropping every Friday. You can also still catch us on Insane Games TV in the meantime. Also, make sure you check out all of our special plugs on our YouTube story and Instagram. And ring the bell this week. Jeremy and I are going to go head-to-head over what should Vince McMahon do now that he's fully out of TKO and WWB.
WWVD.
Yeah.
What will Vince do?
Indeed. All right, let's jump into it, guys. Headlining topic. Speaking of Vince McMahon, it was announced.
Wait a minute. Are we going to talk about Gauntlet?
What about it?
Something pretty epic happened this
here
week
we
on
go.
Gauntlet.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I made a comment before the short.
This is where you put in that clip, Steve.
I think you've gone last in all of these.
I might have tied.
I don't think he's ever come close to even.
I might have tied for last.
Matt and I are always 1 and 2.
But for the most part,
I just want to say that before we get going.
I put a comment. I made a comment, and it got put into the video that Jeremy's never beaten me in the shorts, and then ironically, that very week, that very topic, he beats me.
You know, I couldn't help but wonder why Dan wanted to do the opening plug, and now I see. You just wanted to tap dance
Brush
over
right
this
over that.
epic change. Jer is no longer bringing up the rear.
Well, I mean, the question is, have you won one though?
No,
now we're on to that.
no,
You gotta
but
win
I've
one.
come really close. But I
Now
almost
you got to
got
win
it.
one.
Okay, fine. We can move on.
Headlining topic: Vince McMahon sells all his remaining stock in TKO. What's next for him? Obviously, this is big news. Maybe the last of the TKO Vince McMahon news as far as shares go. He's done. Sells them all. They put them up for sale. I don't know who bought them. I don't think they even announced. I think they just put them. They're up for sale.
I think I saw TKO was trying to.
They
get him.
bought a big chunk, I think.
Right. So
we talked about it last week. He had less than 5 million shares or whatever it was.
So a lot of stuff coming out on Vince this week. NBC News dropped a little bit about what Vince has been up to, some different stuff like that. Dave Meltzer also reported that Vince has a 1-year no non-compete clause on his contract. I'm guessing that's when he was let go. I'm guessing that's when that started.
Yeah, probably January or whatever.
So assuming he's a couple months into that. So, what's next here, guys? I mean, he sells all his stock. He's sitting with a bunch of cash, estimated $1.5 billion. I think when you add them all together, minus whatever taxes, lawsuits, or whatever he has going on. What should Vince do now? I mean, is he moving off to the pasture?
What should he do, or what will he do?
What will he? Whatever you want to. I mean,
what he should do is just ride off into the sunset, enjoy his millions and billions of dollars, and be done with it. But what is he gonna do? I totally see him opening a new sports entertainment promotion.
Right.
100%. VKM Entertainment, whatever.
You brought it up first, so do you want to say it? Because I kind of like your idea, and I can go off of that.
I mean,
I don't want to take it from you.
I don't see why you would build something from scratch when you can just buy what's out there. Maybe Billy Corgan doesn't want to be in it anymore. Maybe TNA decides that, or Anthem decides that they want to sell something out. I mean, you've already got all the infrastructure in place with TNA. They got wrestlers under contract. I mean, he could literally just swoop in and for $20 million, $30 million, $50 million, offer Scott D'Amore his job back if he's willing to be a Vince lackey. I mean, if you are a performer in the business right now, Vince McMahon's biggest problem is, regardless of what happens with this lawsuit, his biggest problem is going to be who the F will work for you.
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Nobody, if you're young and moving up, usually those are the kind of people that you can take advantage of because they're desperate and they want the exposure. Dude, you are so dirty. I don't think anybody wants to have their name associated with you at all. When guys whose career you've completely made, like Cena and Rock, are kind of rolling their eyes and being like, yep, yeah, it really sucks, but I believe in accountability. I mean, that's not a good look, and I don't know that you can attract anybody.
I mean, Cena came to his defense pretty early on. I would not, if he were to start something, I would not be surprised to see, Cena and Hogan show up in his new promotion.
You
or
know,
something.
that's a very interesting idea because now you've got, let's assume he does do that, and let's assume there is some money behind it, and there is some, let's say, some modicum of success that comes of it. You put John Cena, like, now John Cena is kind of torn between the present and the past. You know, Rock, not so much because he's sitting on the board and stuff like that. But yeah, like guys like Cena, old-time guys, Hogan and whatnot, maybe they're trying to maintain, you know, with the company that don't want to have their stuff all trampled on. I mean, it's going to create some really ugly situations behind the scenes.
I think Vince isn't going to do what Vince should do, which is just go move on and retire. That's what we talked about on Ring the Bell. I think he's going to do the complete opposite of what he should do. That said, as we've gone over the last couple weeks, right now pro wrestling is at its best, at its finest. It's the most exciting it's ever been. And throw Vince McMahon right in there as a third promotion. That is a wild card that no one saw coming. And I'll tell you right now, TNA is a great landing spot for that. Like you said, he could buy it for $20, $30 million. Okay, get Scott his job back. He'll be a Vince McMahon minion running around doing what he
just pull all the people.
Be the face guy.
All the people that Ronda Rousey is saying need to be ousted from TKO. He can just scoop them right up and pick them up. And, I mean, we have our complaints with Vince McMahon, but let's be honest here. The guy basically made all of our childhoods here. So there's something in there. There's something in there. Yes, he made our childhoods, and then he stomped on it when we turned about 20.
Right.
But, you know, there is something there. There's something there.
Even if he could get people behind him, I don't think anything he makes today will grow into anything.
Do you think
It'll be like the XFL?
You know, I've been saying for a long time, and I think you've agreed with me, all ships rise with the tide. The question is, would a Vince McMahon promotion add to the tide? Would it put out a quality product that would drive other people, other organizations to be innovative and interesting and take risks? I don't know if that would happen because he fundamentally is not a big risk taker. He has a formula that was really cool when it worked in the 80s and not so much in the 90s. And then at the end of the 90s, it worked really well. He's still trying that same formula today.
Even without the bad press that he's had, he's just too set in his ways. He can't make a new promotion that will
his only option is to buy one that's already going. He's not going to be able to start another one. And I think with the $20-30 million with TNA, and I think they would sell. Or at least they do 50, or he'd be like 51, maybe 49, whatever. But he's going to be able to put his stamp on that, and he'd be able to create it. And you know what? Look, guys, the wrestling business is, you look at AEW came along and made it great again because it gave wrestlers another option. There's going to be people who sign up for TNA just because it's Vince. Because there's going to be. It doesn't matter. They're going to say, you know what? Vince has brought a lot of people on and created a lot of careers. I'll take my chance with him. If I'm a guy who can't make it on WWE television and can't find a match on AEW, I'll go to TNA. I'll become a Vince McMahon guy.
His first sign is the Velveteen
Okay,
Dream.
I mean, there's gonna be people who do it, obviously.
That's the thing, though, too. I mean, you look at all the smaller promotions, but he's still 100% behind the big guy look, and that is very few and far between in any of the other promotions. He's not going to have any of the Hulk Hogan types.
No,
Braun Strowman
you never
types.
know. You never know what could happen. I mean, he has money, and
I will say this: all it takes is one. You get a Cena, you get a Braun Strowman, you get somebody with a decent reputation that goes there, that does a little bit of work, and that goes out and says, hey guys, it ain't too bad. He's not really that involved. He writes the scripts. I haven't had any problems with him. Then you get another guy. Then you get another. They start clotting like blood platelets.
Here's the problem. Vince McMahon buying TNA isn't going to impact WWE at all. It's not going to hurt them. It's not going to do anything to them. What it's going to do is cause a problem for Tony Khan in AEW. Because now what's going to happen is wrestlers who are upset with WWE and they want to leave, you think they're going to go to Tony Khan? Or are they going to go to good old Vince, who used to be their boss and gave him a good treatment before? They're going to go to Vince.
Yeah, Vince is going to be really
They're going
nice
to go to
at
Vince.
first.
So the problem is Vince is going to start taking away a lot of those mid-tier lower that would go to AEW.
But you like that, though.
What do you mean?
Because you hate anybody that's on the mid-card that goes to AEW. You won't even say Edge's name.
True, but but I'm saying it's not gonna. He's not gonna impact WWE. There, no one. Those top guys. CM Punk isn't leaving WWE to go to Vince. John Cena's not going to Vince. The Rock isn't going to Vince. Undertaker not going to Vince. But guys like Austin Theory, who let's say in 10, 12 months isn't getting a good run, why not go to Vince? I'm gonna go to Vince instead of going to Tony Khan. At least Vince has a background of what I was. Those people trying to leave WWE who can't make it there are going to go to Vince and going to Tony Khan.
You know what Vince has is a business model that doesn't rely on success, which is what we're saying is keeping Tony Khan afloat. But we all know there's a bottom to that pit of money. But you're sitting on $1 billion, let's say, and you're 78 years old. You know none of your kids are going to want to have any of that money, that they're all independently wealthy themselves, and all you're trying to do is selfishly retain your legacy. You're willing to overpay, and you're not worried about getting that money back.
Yeah.
And the reality is the other way around to Tony Khan are people who want to leave AEW, who WWE won't sign, they'll go to Vince.
Maybe. Yeah.
Vince is gonna be Vince buying TNA. He's gonna be a middle option that's gonna suck for people who don't want WWE or can't make it, and the people who are leaving AEW who can't go to WWE. He's gonna bring those people in, and it's only gonna hurt Tony Khan. It's not gonna hurt.
The more we
WWE.
talk, I can't. I mean, what kind of a stupid idea is it for Anthem to not keep guys on full-time contract? What could possibly drive you to make that decision?
Mm-hmm.
Unless you knew that there was something bigger potentially coming down the road. I wonder if there haven't been some phone conversations, some handshakes, something like that.
Jeez.
I mean, we were saying, like, is Anthem going to sell? Like, what are you going to do? Because you're not setting the business up to grow. So what are you going to do?
If you're Scott D'Amore, you haven't thought about calling Vince McMahon?
No.
No.
He's way too dirty. He's so...
Yeah.
You don't think he'd call Vince McMahon and say, hey, let's try to buy them?
That's what... There are... If I was Scott D'Amore, I would not want to work with Vince McMahon. It would end my time in the business.
Okay. Think about what's on the line, though. This is a guy who just tried to buy TNA 2 months ago. And now there's an option to go to a guy who's no longer... The business has turned their face to him. And he's just sitting there. I mean, Vince McMahon, okay, take the allegations aside. Guy's he's a genius when it comes to pro wrestling. He is. I mean, maybe passes the time a little bit now, but take the allegations and put them aside. The guy knows what the hell he's doing.
I'd say he's more of a genius for business. More
Maybe,
so than
but
wrestling.
maybe that's what Scott's looking for. You mean to tell me you wouldn't think to walk in and say, hey, I want to have a meeting with Vince?
I think he wants him for his money, and
Well,
that's
yeah.
it. But that would
Maybe
create,
that's what Vince is looking to do.
that would create an arrangement that I don't think Vince would be okay with. Because if I'm Scott D'Amore, I'd be like, fine, but you're my silent partner.
Right.
You are the money, and I will pay you back a reasonable rate of return, but you're going to be out of it. No hand in creative. I don't want your name on anything.
Vince is the comeback kid, like you said before, and I agree with that statement. He's looking for a comeback. He wants to prove to everybody that he can buy another promotion and make it top tier, just like WWE. That's all it's about. And I would not
ego.
be surprised.
It's
if that
ego.
happens.
Pure
That's all it is.
selfishness. Yep. So
But we have what? We have another 6 months until we figure out 8 months.
I
until...
expect if he's not able to do anything, I don't think he's going to be around much longer. Period.
I mean, TNA is shedding talent. We'll talk about it later, but they just lost the Motor City Machine Guns. And, I mean, they went from having the Knockouts division, the Knockouts, which was the greatest women's division. And here we are, let's say, 6 months later, 9 months after we talked about that. And who's there? Is there any sign that Mickie James probably won't be back? Why wouldn't she go join Nick Aldis at WWE? You know, go back to the old hometown, especially now that nasty old Vince is gone. So, I mean, they're being sold for parts right now. And the only reason why you would do that if you're Anthem is because you know someone's going to overpay for the product coming down the road. That's the only future that I can potentially see.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think there's a strong possibility for it. But we got a ways out, 1 year non-compete on Vince's deal with TKO, so we have a little bit of time before we figure out what's going on, unless we start hearing some rumors. What do you think Vince is going to do? Make sure you comment down below right here on our video. Let us know what you guys think. Let's move on to WWB in the news. Got some stuff going on this week. On the WWE, contracts are up. Some more news. We've talked about this before, but some more direct news kind of coming out that Drew McIntyre has 5 to 6 weeks left on his deal, and Becky Lynch only about 8 weeks left on hers. I mean, that's pretty much crunch time. There've been some talks. I guess Becky did an interview where She said that she has not heard from WWE, and maybe now they can start kind of getting it moving, but she hasn't really heard from them at all, but she wants to stay.
Somebody who was released recently behind the scenes, who was in charge of the contracts, apparently did not follow up with this stuff very well, and that led to his release. I can't remember his name now, but
One of the legal guy that just got let go?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name either, but I know what you're talking about.
So, I mean, we're talking crunch time here. I mean, 5 to 6 weeks, you're playing with fire there.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not the first time wrestlers have gone on to a week-by-week contract or month-to-month. I mean, we've seen it with a few. Who was it in AEW who was wrestling for a while without it? Was it Dean or John Moxley that was wrestling without a contract for a while? Didn't he go for like a couple months? I didn't even have a contract. I was just here wrestling. Didn't someone like one of the was it Kenny Omega maybe?
It's much more common on independent type companies, which
I guess it's possible they may have a little bit of a hangover where they don't sign right away. But like, what do you think the game is here? You think WWE is coming up with a strategy, or is this more of a they're playing hard to get with what they're looking for money?
They could play it either way. I mean, I definitely don't think they're negotiating hard. These are two of their huge talents. They're going to make a reasonable request because they're not going to want to go anywhere else. They're not going to be as big as they are now anywhere else. They're both involved in the A-level storylines in WrestleMania. So, I think
it's more difficult to keep Drew on, so they're setting up that story with Punk with him.
Sure,
stoking the fire with him.
You're right because Seth Rollins is still there and he's on his. I mean, I think now's the time because Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins are less busy now than they've been for the last year. So now's the time to kind of have those conversations. And I will be shocked if, Drew's contract got extended because of injury and whatnot, but you still have that conversation. You still say to him when the normal contract expiry passes, you still say, hey, we love having you. We really appreciate you being here. Obviously, we've got to add 3 or 4 months onto your contract because of the injury here, but we're really excited to keep you on, and we're going to make you a fair offer. And there's kind of an understanding there. Is Triple H going to try to jujitsu that into some kind of kayfabe, real life? Obviously, Drew McIntyre made his X all black or whatever last year when his contract was going to come up, and he had been out for a while. Maybe, but I don't think there's any.
I think they could do it with Drew
I think
McIntyre.
it's like the MJF thing. It's all.
I think they can do it with Drew McIntyre. I mean, I feel like that's something that could probably be done.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. But that kind of brings up what Matt was talking about a few minutes ago on our next topic. WWE fired their EVP of talent, Dan Ventrell, who only served 2 years there. Was known, I guess, as a Nick Khan Triple H guy, but apparently didn't really have a good association or rapport with the talent that he was negotiating with. Probably hint Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, ones that haven't really signed yet. And now they're moving up. I forget the other names, but they're moving up 2 guys that have been there a while.
They're coming out of other departments, out of communications and marketing, I think.
And they're moving up. So, and apparently, but they know the wrestlers well, have a little bit more of a better rapport with them. So maybe contracts maybe these extensions weren't going anywhere because, the executive vice president there at the time wasn't really handling well.
Well, and it seems that Shawn Michaels is maybe getting inserted into the process a little bit now, which I think is a good idea. I mean, you need to have a guy. I mean, JR did it for how long?
Right.
You need to have a guy that's
someone who knows the locker room,
in the trenches, knows the people, and and you've got him on the talent development side and the talent relation side. It just makes sense. Like, that seems to be WWE's new model, is like a cradle to grave model. We want to find you in college at a campus, recruit you into our next in line program, send you to NXT. We develop you, we build you, you win, you come onto the undercard, you start doing live performances, you win a middle-level belt eventually, right? That's the dream they sell you. Everybody gets to be Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they have this sort of cradle-to-grave model that they're trying to push right now, and this lines up perfectly with it because you want the guy that's developing you to be the guy that you're negotiating with 5 years later when you're worth $1 gajillion. And you can have him look in the eye and go, but are you really worth $1 gajillion? That kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Versus a situation like, let's take MJF, somebody that's grown outside of the organization and is now, really a national, maybe even an international phenomenon. And what value does having Shawn Michaels in the room with him. Okay, maybe a little bit because he grew up watching you, but
Right.
he didn't develop you. You didn't learn
Yeah.
how to do a super kick from him,
But I mean, maybe this guy wasn't a Triple H guy, but maybe this could be an example of Triple H really putting the people who he wants to negotiate with superstars in place. I mean, this could be.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this could be a way Triple H is really putting his claws in everything.
Yeah, I think this is kind of how they're spreading the burden a little bit. They're taking a guy from communications and a guy from marketing. They're like, okay, we can kind of cover the gaps here. We need somebody that knows the talent. Let's put Shawn into that process too.
Yeah.
So,
PW Insider is reporting that MJF is under contract with AEW and is locked down. So we got a lot of stuff going on here with contracts right now, and in this exciting world of pro wrestling now.
they're going to be in Long Island this summer, June. What show is it?
It's got to be Grand Slam. Right?
Grand Slams in June.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
They're going to be in Long Island this summer, and that seems like the appropriate time to me. I mean, it's Long Island. What are you going to do?
Right.
But that makes a lot of sense to me. So I believe, obviously, I've said it from the very beginning. I'll say it again here for all of our new fans.
Forbidden Doors in Long
It is Forbidden Door.
Yep.
I'll say it for all our new fans. I've always believed that he's been under contract. I believe this is all just a work or whatever. Him going dark, I should say.
Is he going to show up at SummerSlam?
Yeah,
It all depends on
you've
how
been
gone-
kicking the can down the road since January. So
It all depends on how I don't know. I'm losing faith. I'm losing hope in it. I think it's getting close to where it's just about not going to happen. But I mean, hey, you never know. I mean, hey, WWE been pretty good with surprises. You gotta stagger them out a little bit. You can't do them all at once. So maybe they're saving them for down the road. SummerSlam would be pretty nice.
yeah, we're coming into the reset period, right? The draft is coming in. We got a little bit of a lull heading into the summer, whatever. This happens every year. Maybe it's time to spice things up a little bit with a big premiere on Long Island in June. He comes back. Obviously, Adam Cole's out now too, so you kind of want to work the story properly too. So makes sense to me.
Continuing with AEW, AEW gets in trouble with the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission for their unsanctioned Nyla Rose match. What do you think about that? I mean, they're gonna hit him. Are they hitting him with a fine? I assume, or
So this time they said they weren't going to hit him with a fine. They were just going to give him a warning. But if it happens again, they will be penalized.
What was the violation?
The violation was in Oklahoma, you are not allowed to have intergender matches. Intersex matches. So Nyla Rose, obviously one of the first signings for AEW, well-known transgender wrestler, probably the most popular transgender wrestler in the world, has not worked for the promotion very much in the last couple of years, but in December she worked a show, she worked a taping, and it was against a, as they say, cisgendered female, and Oklahoma, that's not legal in Oklahoma. You're not allowed to do that.
Interesting.
So it's 2X's versus 2X's or XY versus XY. So, it's interesting. I wanted to put this on here because we haven't really seen anything like that yet. This is the first time we've actually seen a state athletic commission sort of, slap the hand of a wrestling promotion. We have seen TNA obviously has a well-known transgender athlete in their knockouts division. But they perform a lot in Canada and a lot in other states where that hasn't really been an issue. So it'll be interesting, something we should track in the future to see if it becomes a thing, because it might.
yeah, slightly interesting on that one. I would have never thought that could happen, but oh well. Last but not least in the news, Cody Rhodes' title has officially changed. Undisputed WWE champion. As our big topic last week was, what should the new title be if they change it? Well, the Universal part is gone. According to WWE.com, it's no longer there. It's gone. So looks like they finally made the change.
Yeah, apparently, from what I understand, the title still includes Universal, the history of the Universal title,
Right.
but it's just not part of the name anymore.
Right. Which makes sense.
That's
We
good.
talked about this,
Yeah,
not
that's
to
what
beat
I
the dead
wanted.
horse here, but it's like, the Universal just doesn't make any sense anymore.
The Undisputed doesn't make
They're
any
not,
sense.
but the Universal title made sense back when they kept referring to the WWE Universe. We were in the Universe stage. Remember, like, oh, the WWE Universe, the WWE, like, they kept referencing that term. Or they moved on from that. So really, that belt name serves no purpose anymore.
I think pretty soon Undisputed will get dropped. too.
I like Undisputed. I think you got it. The problem is, we talked about it. You got to keep Undisputed. Otherwise, it's a demotion from from the Undisputed Universal WWE Champion to WWE Champion.
You do, but the
It's a
champions,
it's a demotion.
the championships have to be co-equal. You
Right.
can't have one be better than the other.
It is disputed when you introduce the world title.
Because then forever there'll be arguments over whichever promotion has the Undisputed Championship is going to be the A promotion.
Well,
Raw
they
or
got themselves
SmackDown.
into that bind. So they need to figure out how to get themselves out of that bind. So,
Well,
they-
speaking
so it
of,
looks like they're trying to do that.
they unveiled the new tag championships this week.
Actually, I kind of like those.
I was going to ask, what did you think of it? Looks kind of like the World Championship.
Yeah, very
Right.
similar to the
Belt.
world.
That seems to be the direction that they're moving
I
in.
mean, anything is better than those tag titles they've had since like 2011 when they started out as the Copper Penny belts.
I was going to say, it's the Spartan belts, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
they've always been hideous. So anything is an improvement over those.
Yeah, they look good. I like it. I like the way they did it. It looked almost like backlighting with the coloring and stuff. Looked kind of cool. Anyways, I liked them.
But all right, that's it. That's it for the WWB in the news. Again, make sure you comment down below any topics that we didn't get. Love to get your feedback on that. Some other topics in the news you guys are listening to. Love to get some feedback on that. So, yeah, that's the news.
All right, for the 387th time in professional wrestling history, Vacate is now the title holder.
Is it 387?
It's something like that. I
Impressive.
looked it up. There's actually a really funny X account y'all need to follow called, I think it's called Vacated Title, where basically, it's somebody owns this account and they just brag every time a title gets vacated because they win it. It's very funny.
At least 10 of those have been Bryan Danielson.
Yes, very funny. So this week, if you didn't see it, Rhea Ripley had to vacate the Women's World Championship due to an injury. I guess my first question is, work or shoot? And normally I would say legit, but it came after a backstage exchange with Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Work or shoot? What's your vote?
If it's a work, that's a shitty way to end her reign.
She does need a break.
She does, but
And that's been the kind of the way that they handle it because you don't want to make the champ look weak.
it would be. I think it would be better if she legitimately needs time off, just to say, "There's no challengers for me here. I'm vacating and I'm taking a vacation."
That would kind of be the heel angle to take, although it kind of makes the company look a little weak.
But
you can't.
It
do
makes
that
her
way. I
look
don't
like a
think you can.
badass. Like there's nobody here worth my time.
Makes the company look a little weak.
I think they did it the right way. I think if it is a work, that's a great way of. It's a great way of taking the title off of her, and kind of get the women's division moving a little bit, and then she can start her mountain. Start at the bottom mountain to climb back up to get it.
They clearly are angling Liv, obviously. Now, apparently this week, it's just going to be bestowed upon somebody, that they're not going to do a tournament or anything
No,
like that.
they're going to do a match. I'm pretty sure they said they're going to do a match.
They're just giving the belt to him.
I don't know who the number one contenders are. Who are the number one?
Well,
Who got beat down the least bad?
Dude, they don't care about that. They're just going to have like a battle royal or a gauntlet match or something and just give it to the winner. They don't care about
so
number one
now
contenders.
so this is how you make the WWE Women's Championship look better than the World Championship.
Yeah, now Bailey's going to be the top champion.
'Cause now Bayley's
I mean,
gonna
it makes
be.
me also think that it isn't a work because then why not just give the belt to Becky Lynch?
Well, Becky's out.
I get that, but you're gonna go through all that storyline, right, with Becky Lynch and Rhea.
Well, that's why I'm saying
Have
like
Rhea win.
who are you're going to do a match? Okay, great. Well, Becky Lynch clearly the number one contender. Clearly you've angled her,
Right.
and she's out. So you may as well just give it to somebody. You may as well just bestow it upon whomever you think it is, because it's going to be just
That makes
as
me
arbitrary.
think she could be legitimately injured. 'Cause I think if she wasn't, I feel like they would have done Becky Lynch storyline a little bit different. I mean, so you just have you have two wrestlers at this main event of your women's division. Okay, one's now gone for a while, and now the other one's giving up the belt. I
guess you could have.
It just doesn't make any
you
sense.
Could have, this to me kind of smells like a return, This smells to me like somebody shows up, Alexa Bliss, somebody like that comes in and spoils it for somebody and creates some kind of controversy that requires there to be some kind of a triple threat match.
Well,
or something like that.
Bliss is supposed to come back.
You know, you came in, you interfered, the ref catches you, there isn't really a winner, it's a double disqualification. Oh, let's kick the can down the road 3 weeks to Backlash, and it'll be a three-way between you two and whoever the surprise return is going to be. And maybe if Alexa still isn't ready to return, it's Charlotte Flair. What a waste to have Charlotte Flair return at WWE Backlash. Which is going to be in France, by the way.
Could that not be an epic return, though? I mean, again, it's a classic. No one thought she's coming back.
I mean,
and she wants that belt. That belt's going to Charlotte Flair at some point.
It is.
That belt has not been on Becky Lynch, has not been on Charlotte Flair. Don't think they don't want it. That's a sick-looking belt.
Yeah, I mean,
it looks like Ric Flair's old championship. So yeah,
that's going to make its way to Charlotte Flair at some point.
Yeah, I just
when?
I mean, I've seen the videos. I don't think she's good enough to wrestle. I'm not a doctor, but that would surprise me. I mean, yeah, you're right though. Charlotte could fill her shoes. Somebody like Charlotte,
or who can fill those shoes until Charlotte's back.
And yeah, I don't think I think they should just if there's nobody that can fill the shoes, they should just toss the belt around.
The reality is Rhea Ripley's not winning that belt again until WrestleMania.
If she even wins it again, they could do a cool storyline.
Or
with
she might go for
something.
the other women's belt.
Yeah, but I think they'd be doing themselves a favor if they just spent 6 months just tossing the belt around. This person wins it, and this person wins it. Then there's a really cool ladder match. You can experiment, see who gets over better with the crowd. Seems like Triple H likes to do that, experiment now. What better place to experiment than in the women's division, which has basically been gutted? I mean, there really is, you know, you're coming off the great push between Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus, where we had to dig through the legends, you know, in order to find a woman that could mainline pay-per-views and stuff like that and do cage matches and stuff. It's like, come on, like we got to be able to do better than that. So now's the time. All right, let's go outside WWE a little bit. It is official. We've been talking about it. It's been rumored for multiple weeks now on this show. Matt, I want to get your initial response first and foremost. The Motor City Machine Guns, it's being reported, are about to or have signed officially with AEW. What are your thoughts on that?
As long as they stay healthy, this is only a good thing.
I mean, they are probably the most electric tag team. I mean, they are a Young Bucks level.
Absolutely.
I mean, I the only thing I could think of was buckle up for more dream matches, because that's essentially what's happening right here. And they can work together or they can work independently at the top of the card anywhere. Mm-hmm. Either one of those guys could have a really crazy feud going with MJF or Samoa Joe or Swerve or anybody that's sitting at the top of the... Yeah, exactly, yeah. Or you could, work them from the tag team angle, which I think is how they'd use it to begin with. And the other interesting thing is, obviously, Motor City Machine Guns, big feel in Detroit. This kind of maybe helps. I don't know. You're worried about filling stadiums. You're worried about selling tickets. They are a draw, especially in the Midwest, which is where they've lost a lot of their support due to the CM Punk fiasco and all that garbage. Mm-hmm. So maybe this helps kind of regroup a little bit of that fan base there.
It's definitely lost for TNA
in the Midwest.
It is.
It's a big loss. I mean, it depends on everyone's radar for a while.
How long have they been in TNA? Forever?
It goes back
this
to
time around, only a few years probably.
It goes back to what you said earlier. Like, I don't know why they just don't sign them to long term or.
I mean, if you can't sign them, you can't sign anybody.
I think they were big with Scott D'Amore, so that might have signed it when he left. They were gone too.
I mean, Shelley just had the World Championship.
Yep.
Shelley was just holding the TNA World Championship, or the Impact, right?
Impact.
Which I think they converted to a TNA for him, and then he dropped it. So, I mean, I don't know.
It sounds pretty. I mean, it sounds like there could be something going on over at TNA.
I think they're, and I don't know how many high. So now, Mercedes Moné has been signed. Will Ospreay's been signed.
Okada's
signed. Motor City Machine Guns supposedly signed. I mean, there's really nobody outside of the big two, as it were. I guess, technically speaking, Mickie James, if she returned, she's not back or anything, but if she made a return and was a free agent, she would be a big level signing. But outside of that, there really is nobody on the board right now that is not on one of those two teams.
Not unless someone on the Indies gets really hot really fast.
And I don't know how they do that, because that shit don't happen fast.
You just look at. I just remember a couple months ago we were talking about how great TNA was doing. Like how like
they were,
and it's
They
just
were
like it's
doing
just
awesome.
I just don't understand. So you look at these brands, and I mean maybe it's easy for us. We sit here and we talk about them all the time, but like how you go from having a great momentum, great vibes, now you're just going down.
That's why it
Like,
seems
it's like-
purposeful. It has to be
It
to-
just doesn't.
at a certain point, even ignorance becomes sin. You have to be doing this intentionally, because if you were trying to rip apart a company and sell it for parts, I mean, how would the plan be any different?
Right.
You'd scare away new talent. You'd scare off new talent. You'd scare away old talent, and this is exactly what would happen. And guys like Tony Khan are fully willing, and Nick Khan are fully willing to take advantage of it. So I'd be interested to hear if WWE was even interested in them.
I doubt it. I
'Cause
mean, Shelley came to NXT briefly for one of the Dusty Rhodes tag tournaments a few years ago, but I don't think they might not even want to go there because of the schedule or whatever.
WWE just doesn't seem to give a shit about their tag team division. They just don't. They've been cobbling together tag teams to make belts work. They're not developing any tag team related stories or anything like that. Yeah,
And
okay,
they're
factions
all Franken
here.
teams.
A lot, except for like the New Day or you know what I mean. There's a couple that aren't, but not enough to really develop. And if you look at none of the tag teams are getting a push. I mean, you have guys that have really made a name for themselves, Viking Raiders and whatnot, as a tag team together that almost never wrestle apart, but they don't get a push. Yeah, you're right. They're all Franken teams. So I wouldn't want to go there if I was them, even if they promised me a run at the belts.
No. All right, let's get into some predictions. This weekend, AEW Dynasty, brand new pay-per-view. Divas title is not on the line, so you get to hang on to that for a little longer.
Lucky you.
But let's make some predictions just for fun. I think we got a 9-match card. 9 matches announced so far. Start with the big one. AEW World Championship, Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland.
Whose house?
Swerve's
Oh, okay.
house.
Samoa Joe, come on.
Man, I don't know. I really want Swerve to win that belt. I think Joe's done his job. Although Swerve, man, he's really hot and cold. He does some things that really piss the fans off, and he does some things that don't piss the fans off.
He's pretty much cemented as a face right now.
I'm going to go with Swerve.
Yeah, so am I. It's about time. This is like his 3rd title match. If he doesn't win this one, they're completely derailing him. So,
Yeah, sorry, Joe won it from MJF, right? At
Yep,
World's End.
at World's End.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's 4 months, 5 months. Yeah.
this one I'm looking forward to: Ospreay versus Danielson.
I mean, match of the night, right? Is anyone going to try and argue?
Will Ospreay, come on. You're not going to shoot him down. I mean,
Yeah, and
Daniel Bryan will take the pin.
this is Brian's job.
Yep.
And he takes pride in it, and he's going to do a hell of a job with it, and he's going to make him look at least as good as he made MJF look in that
He's
Iron
so
Man match.
overrated.
Brian Danielson?
I can't stand
You know
him.
what? We're going to do a ring the bell, and I'm going to let you sit in for me, because you can't let a man talk like that. Show him the back of your hand.
AEW Women's World Championship: Timeless Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa.
Oh, is she finally going to drop the belt? Oh, you don't think so?
I don't think so either.
Tony Storm.
When did Thunder Rosa come back? A couple weeks ago, right?
No, it was about a month ago.
Was it a
now.
month ago? There was no fanfare.
It was
Really?
very little, yeah.
I was like, what? Thunder Rosa's back? She was huge before she went out.
The whole story is she never lost the title. She dropped it because of injury. Toni Storm was the interim champion while she was out. Yeah, I think this is just going to be Toni cementing it.
Yeah, Toni Storm. But I think it's a bad idea. Tony Khan, fix it. Give the belt to somebody else.
Well, there's a question. Who else is there right now? Peraza already lost.
You could
Maybe a returning Jamie Hayter.
you really kind of screwed Peraza by not letting her win it. They really missed the boat. They really Cody Rhodes'd her. I think you could give it to Thunder Rosa. Why not?
She's not. I don't think she's as much of a favorite as she used to be. Her injury really derailed her. Ladder match for the tag championships, AEW tag championships. Young Bucks versus FTR. This will determine the first ever 3-time champions.
They need the Young Bucks right now, so I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, I think the Bucks retain, and potentially the Motor City Machine Guns come out and
Retain. They don't have the titles now.
No one has them. It's vacant.
They're vacated. That's right.
weren't they the last ones to have it?
The
No,
AEW
Darby
belt,
and-
the
Darby and
AEW
Sting.
belts, tag belts are vacated right now.
Darby and Sting.
Oh, right.
vacated them.
Right. This is the end of the tournament.
Right.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think they give it to the Bucks, and I think Motor City Machine Guns make a premiere, assuming
That's
they
what
have
I
a
was
contract
thinking.
signed,
Yeah.
and that would put them over really well. Bucks are heel right now, although after that whole CM Punk thing, I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know.
AEW Continental Championship, Okada versus Pac.
They're
Okay,
not taking off Okada.
What is the Continental Championship?
That was the Triple Crown Championship.
Well,
but
that they converted.
they
Okay.
split it up, yeah.
Okay.
It was just a way to introduce a new belt.
Man. Okada's heel right now.
Yes, he is. He's part of the Elite.
He's part of the Elite. Yeah.
He replaced the fired Kenny Omega.
That's right. The diverticulitis Kenny Omega. I love Pac. It'll be a good match. Okada.
Okay. TBS Championship, Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale.
Oh, Hart. Willow's been taking falls left and right. They will not put her over for the life of her. They're trying to give her the old Bailey treatment. I'm a hugger, but I lose.
You know, Jeremy always beats me a little bit sometimes to the punch. He went after the Continental belt. I was about to go after this TBS belt. I was
Why?
waiting. Can we not come up with something a little bit more than what Warner Brothers calls their TV stations? TBS and TNT. I mean, come on. It's so WCW.
I do think they should bring back the TV championship.
Has anyone ever thought about maybe that's why Eric Bischoff hates his promotion so much? It's almost identical to what WCW was.
Eric Bischoff hates his promotion because
Did
he's jealous of
WCW
it.
not have a TNT belt or a TBS
no.
belt?
They had a television
They had
television
television
championship.
championship.
It wasn't
WCW
TBS or TNT?
No.
No.
That's new.
No, they had the U.S. title. They
Listen,
had a
I'm
TV
not crazy
title.
about it because it's pretty blatant. You're whoring yourself out. So
It's just ridiculous.
I don't like
Wow,
it.
here comes a AEW TNT.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Just
I
come
don't
up
like
with their
it.
own name.
I think you should have a television, just like I think you should have a web championship where.
I will say, we all make fun of WWE, but everyone gets a belt. AEW is, I just can't with a belt.
They took the trios belts away, right? They
No,
did away
still
with the
have 'em.
trios. Who's
the
holding
Acclaimed
them?
has them.
Oh, the Acclaimed has them. You're
And
right. I
those
forgot.
are going to be coming up. Too.
It's just crazy. I don't know. Julie Hart retains.
She's turned into a very good wrestler. I've tipped my hat to her.
I could see Willow winning and doing a Mercedes feud, but it might be Hart. We'll see. I'm picking Hart. International Championship, Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Can I step in for a second?
Are you raising your hand?
I,
Yes, sir.
I just can't. So what's the difference between the AEW International Championship and the AEW Continental Championship? Really? Like, what's the difference? They're the same thing.
One's international, the other one is in the continent.
It just
Kind of like how NXT has the North American Championship.
I just move on. I just can't.
I mean,
belts are just so bad.
I'm making fun of you, but I agree with you.
It's just so bad. I get when you look at them, obviously the meaning of the word, but like they sound the same.
This is what you have to do. I mean, if you're going to destroy one or two of them, this is what you have to do. You have to break them up and then send them away, retire them.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do.
I think at some point, Continental and International, they'll be combined.
Something like
Unified,
that. Yeah.
whatever. So, yeah, Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly.
Man, I don't care about this match at all.
Yeah.
Who has the better record?
I'm gonna go with Kyle.
Kyle just returned from 2-year injury.
We gotta go with a couple belt switches. I'm going with Kyle. Kyle O'Reilly.
Is Roderick Strong heel right now?
Yes.
Because he's with Adam Cole?
Mm-hmm. Which that group really hasn't done anything.
Yeah, it hasn't done shit. Strongholds. But I really don't care about that match. I think it'll be a good one, though.
I think Strong's going to win only by cheating. I don't think they're going to bury O'Reilly. FTW Championship, Hook versus
I just
Jericho.
can't. You know what? I had to look this up. 'Cause I was like, "What is it?" I just clicked on it and I go, "Fuck the world!" Like, come on. I mean, really? This is about this. Know what this is? This is a Chris Jericho wants a belt type thing. That's like the people's champion. No. The Rock. It's the most ridiculous. No. The Rock coming out with a people's belt was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I don't know why he's doing it. I can't stand looking at him walk. He's not a champion. So why? This is one of those belts that we're just giving a belt to someone so they have a belt.
That FTW championship is how old?
Late 90s.
Yeah, that's an old. That belt goes way
ECW
back.
belt.
That's an old ECW.
This one here, FTW.
Yeah. And
It's
Hook
Taz-
is Taz's son.
It's Taz's
So how
belt.
can they have the rights to it if it's ECW?
Because it's not. It's the whole point of it was it wasn't sanctioned by anybody. It was a Taz created belt. It's a Taz owned belt.
and now his son
It's
has
a
it and
Taz
won it.
IP.
Fuck Taz.
He wanted
Get
it
outta
all
here
in,
with that.
right?
Yeah.
Taz.
From at the Great Incident.
Well, he had it before that. But
right, but he won it back, right?
No, Perry beat him for it at All In, I think. Didn't he? Or no, he did win it back. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Perry
yeah.
won it before that. Sorry. So yeah.
So, yeah,
let me guess. It's a small little belt. So when you have it over your shoulder, it's like this small. On your
No,
shoulder.
It's a little bigger.
It's not like a
I mean,
women's
come
belt.
on.
It's a cheap belt.
It's actually a bracelet.
I can't.
You picking Jericho? could
Yeah,
see
they
him
got to
winning
do
it.
something with Chris Jericho, so give him that belt.
Dude, shut up.
Wow.
I'm talking to Matt.
I could see
Matt's
him
like,
winning.
oh, I could see that. It's like, shut up,
I
dude.
could.
He could what?
Jericho wins a belt. Le Champion. I would
What
cut
else
a
they
5-minute
doing?
Did
promo.
you think he
maybe.
was going to win the Ring of Honor World Championship?
No, but I don't think they'd make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, a couple more here. Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, Mark Briscoe versus House of Black.
Talk about a match I don't give a
Can I not
shit
vote on
about.
this? I can't stand Adam Copeland, and I can't stand Eddie Kingston. I actually watched Eddie Kingston, and it would get me mad just watching him.
I'm gonna say House of Black
I'm going
because
House of Black 'cause I can't stand
I
Eddie
think
Kingston.
House of Black is deserving of a little push here, and this would be a great way to push them without burying.
Well,
I'm
Adam
saying the
Copeland's
baby
already
faces.
champion. And I know I'm wrong, but
So
Eddie
is-
Kingston was a 3-belt champion. So let's add a 4th one to his.
All three of them have belts still. Adam Copeland's TNA, Eddie Kingston
And honestly,
has the strong.
I don't want a Franken team to beat House of Black. Like, I think that just makes them look weak.
Mark Briscoe's the Ring of Honor World Champion now.
Everyone's a champion on this card.
And the last one, 2 sets of trios titles are on the line. AEW trios and Ring of Honor 6-man tag, Acclaimed versus Bullet Club Gold.
And
They're-
you're trying to be
they're
serious
combined.
about it.
They're combined.
But Jeremy's gonna go. The way he's over there, like it's not really that big of a deal.
No,
Jeremy-
no. The Acclaimed is always going to get my vote because they're just hysterical and wonderful, and I just think they're very funny. Scissor me, daddy. I just think they're the funniest. They're the best. Scissor me, daddy.
I'm going Bullet Club Gold.
Ah, that's just sad.
I'm gonna go Bullet Club. How can they use the word Bullet Club? Isn't that like?
Because they have a working relationship with
Yeah,
New
that's
Japan,
that's an
but
NJPW thing.
they've
so.
been going more.
I'm asking the question
Bang
that
Bang
common
Gang.
people would be asking. I mean, the Bullet Club is last time I knew.
I don't know how many common people know that that's an NJPW thing, but even if they didn't have a working relationship, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they owned that.
So that's 10.
Because on the
matches.
indie circuit, you own your stuff. It's really only with WWE
no,
that they
that's
slave you
definitely-
out.
No, that's definitely New Japan.
They do own that?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So we have 1, 2.
10 matches.
But how many belts are on the line?
Oh, like all of them.
1,
like
2,
total, like
3,
I think it's like
4,
8.
5, 6, 7, 9 if you count both sets of trios titles. Yeah.
8. You can't win one without the other.
this many belts, and we have one weekly 2-hour live show.
No, you don't.
2.
I'm joking. People don't watch
have-
Collision.
You have 5 hours of television. It's the same level of television for both. Same amount of television for both promotions.
If
I'm
you don't
trolling-
count
I'm-
NXT.
I'm
you
trolling
don't
on
count
AEW. I got to troll. So
If you do count NXT, it's the same.
NXT is 7 hours.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, especially considering this is like they're trying to
This
make
is a
it.
new pay-per-view.
They're doing it because they're trying to make it an A pay-per-view, even though it isn't, and it really shouldn't be. They really should be pushing Revolution more. I don't know why. Just let this be a B or a C pay-per-view. But they're learning. They're trying to figure out which one they care about.
All right, so that's our picks, just for fun. No belt on the line. See what happens. But let's get to our main event here. So wanted to bring up this topic about all the people that are out injured now. We just got a new one this week with Rhea Ripley added to the list. So at least a dozen people out between both of the major companies.
I'm sorry, Rock is injured?
he's gone.
He's, well, taking time
Gone.
off.
I mean,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So not just injured, just away from the product.
really, you could add Becky Lynch to it. I mean, she's gone
Right.
right now.
Bliss has been gone.
I
Yep.
mean, the list.
Charlotte
these
Flair,
are just the
Rhea.
main ones I could think of. I'm sure there's a lot more.
CM Punk, Seth Rollins, MJF, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. There's a ton of them,
Kenny Omega is not going to be back soon either. I just saw a report.
if at all.
He's going to need surgery 100%. He's improving, but he can't wrestle.
So the question is, can these companies survive without all these names? How are they going to get through all this?
I think this is really going to show what the companies have in their arsenal. I mean, who can step up? You know, we were talking about this in the women's division a minute ago, where Jeremy was saying toss the belt around for experiment, try different things. This right now, if I'm a mid-card wrestler, any promotion, I'm saying this is the time now to build myself up. This is the time to. I wouldn't be surprised if out of this next 8 months, with all these people out, we see 1 or 2 superstars from either promotion build their way up to a main card status, because there's room to do it right now. I mean, maybe a little bit more in WWE than AEW, but The Rock gone. I mean, and I know he hasn't really been around, but he's gone. He took up a lot of time. Gone. Roman Reigns gone. Punk gone. Seth Rollins maybe out 2 months. I wouldn't call him gone, but look at the women's division. I mean, you have AJ Styles saying that he could be done. I mean, there's room for people to start moving. AJ Styles says in an interview that he doesn't.
Yeah, I know, but you said the women's division, and then you brought up AJ Styles.
Oh,
It
I'm just
confused me
crossing
for a
all
second.
over. Yeah, between everything, there's a lot of people out, and who can step up now? I mean, that's gonna be the question, and more importantly, who has the creative?
Gunther's
people?
taking a break.
Is he?
I think so. Yeah,
He wasn't on Raw, I don't think, was he?
he hasn't been on since he lost at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So
he
maybe
could be.
he's going to have a comeback, but
Reportedly, Bo Dallas is coming back, so maybe this is a chance for him to finally step up.
yeah, there was talk about Eric Rowan maybe coming back and trying to do
A new Wyatt family.
some kind of a Wyatt family.
I heard Matt
type
Hardy made a comment about that.
scenario.
He put out like a
he tweeted
It was
about
like
it.
it was like a QR code or something that was related to it.
Yeah, he tweeted about it. Well, first of all, I think the companies can't. Now, there are some people that are still getting buried, and I have to tip my hat here to Chad Gable. They just had him turn heel this week against Sami Zayn. It looked horrifically bad. Probably the worst heel turn since Jungle Boy's heel turn. So he's going to continue to get buried, unfortunately. Only the good die young. But
why was it bad? I didn't see it.
it's not him, man. It's not a good fit for
he didn't
him.
act it out well.
It was very forced.
He has a baby face. Like making him a heel is going to take a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of story and a lot of effort. He's going to have to disappear and come back looking different. Like
They should have made him.
Mercedes Moné came back with different hair, like literally changed her physical appearance, and honestly, you guys, I don't know how closely you've been following it, but Jack Perry's been doing the scapegoat thing in NJPW. He's growing out a big beard. It's starting to look a lot better and work a lot better. It takes time when you have a baby face like that, and they just haven't invested any time. They make it look like a temper tantrum, which is going to mean it has no weight or significance to it at all.
It's going to be goofy.
It's going to be goofy and crappy. So he's still going to continue to get buried for a mid-card championship that he totally could hold and have a nice little reign with.
They should have made him the new Kurt Angle. He was
He
perfect.
looks just like Kurt Angle.
Yeah,
But they won't.
He has the
they
body,
won't
has
give
they
it to
won't
him.
now. No,
They won't give it to him,
He's
but
an
he's
Olympian.
smaller than Kurt Angle, so it doesn't come off quite as well
Right.
because he's only 5'8" or whatever.
So stupid.
So anyway, so all that's to say, I mean, I think I think it's going to be an opportunity to get some eyes. We got some B and C level pay-per-views coming up in the next few months in between now and SummerSlam. I think it's Backlash and Fastlane, maybe, I think. So there's some opportunity here, but it's still so crowded at the top, man. If you think about who's holding the belts and who can challenge for it, I mean, Drew McIntyre is still right there at the top. You still got all the guys from the bloodline
leaves in 6 weeks.
that are still up there. I mean, you're going to tell me that like neither one of the Uso guys could challenge for any one of these mid-card belts?
Well, they're clearly going to bring them back into the tag team mix.
Hopefully, because the tag team mix needs something.
So
Because that's got
obviously,
nothing.
Jimmy just got the shit kicked out of him on Raw or SmackDown, whatever one it was. He's definitely going face again. He'll team up with Jay, and they'll be back to a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, you have to do something. You have to do a reset, right? The draft is coming up, so obviously that's shuffling the deck. So I think we really can't even make any reasonable guesses until after the draft happens and see kind of where everybody lands. I'm more interested in to see how many things don't change, because one interesting thing from this, all these people that are out injured, they're either going to go undrafted or they're going to be free agents.
Right.
Which is what I think they're going to do with them. They're going to say, well, if you're not healthy at the draft, you're just going to be a free agent, which basically says, hey, we want to do whatever we want to do, whenever we want to do it. Oh, and as it just turns out, everybody that you've ever given a shit about, everybody that's held a belt in the last 365 days just so happens to be a free agent. What do you know? You know.
And they are saying the NXT is going to be part of the draft, and
Yeah,
there
I
are
read
some
that.
main roster people who are going to be going back.
Yeah, Illa Drago, I think they said, was like
Ilya
poised.
Dragunov.
Dragunov was like poised to get drafted.
And I think Natalia and the Final Testament are up for grabs for NXT, or likely to go back to NXT.
Oh my gosh, Natalia, I forgot she even existed.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Well, not exactly cream of the crop there at this point.
All right. Well, I think that covers everything. That's all we got this week. Be sure to comment, like, share, subscribe. Let us know your picks for Dynasty and what you think about where these gone wrestlers are going to end up. And until next time, you keep watching. We'll keep wrestling with business.